So I was just sitting here thinking, just sitting here with my thoughts, and 'cause I'm really curious, what will Cyclops' role be when he gets added into the game? So I'm just sitting here thinking, because there's multiple different ways they could go about adding Cyclops into this game, and how they could, which role he could be. Because you know, rivals to me, they have the opportunity to do one of the funniest things ever, to me, in my opinion. Don't make me laugh. Is make him another Vanguard, another tank. Because we have not had a double tank season yet. Actually, I don't think we had a double same role season yet since like season three. And I know for many different reasons, a lot of people say they uh they hate season three. They not like the season right here because they added two DPS in the same season, which was kind of crazy like that. I still can't believe they did that. But yeah, there were two popular characters. We had Jean Grey, Phoenix, and Blade. But I just feel like the way they added these characters, they just didn't like take the time out to make them good enough when they dropped. So people just didn't like them. Like Jean, she was kind of like a hella variant. They get kind of like the same kit, same playstyle in a way. So people just didn't like really play Blade and Jean like that. They just kind of like dropped them after a few days because they seen that they weren't really effective in matches. And there were two double DPS, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, I feel like they could have go a few routes with Scott, and I feel like Vanguard obviously have him more durable. Also have him like I don't I don't think does Scott have different like modes that he has with his optic blast. I'm pretty sure it's just like one mode. Well, probably correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm pretty sure I might be wrong. But they can also like have him at like a mode. It's like his visors where like he can like manipulate and like determine how far his blast shoots out. So like he can make it to like where he's like shooting it out, but it doesn't go that far. Pause. And it can be like a shield type of situation to where like his blast is like used as a shield. It's kind of cool. They make him a vanguard. It's kind of cool they do that. Obviously in DPS, make him like not as durable. Have his damage go up a little bit, and his ability could be like where his blast shoots off the wall. It's like it bounces off the walls and hits players. That'd be kind of cool. But they can also do that like for each different role. If they go about that way. Uh, and healer, obviously same thing in a way, but make his blast push out enough heals, make him like a primary healer. That'd be kind of cool if they did that. I already know. I can already hear y'all. Oh, Tyler, they're making him a healer. That'd be stupid. I said the same thing when I heard where's he at? Where's he at? When they added this dude into the game. Because I heard about rumors, heard about leaks about Ultron being a strategist, being a healer. I was like, no, that's got to be fake. There's no way that's not real. There's no way they're making him a healer. And lo and behold, they made him a strategist. I was just like, what? I was so distraught when I seen that come up on my screen when they were doing the division like a whole year and a half ago, well, a year and some change ago, when season two came out. I was like, what? They made him a healer? Because I was like, okay, DPS makes more sense because he's kind of like Iron Man in a way. But I'm pretty sure I'm so glad that they didn't make him DPS because they would just have two flying like two Iron Man type characters, which have been annoying. Even though he's still kind of an Iron Man variant in a way, he's a healer. But out of all things, I also felt like Ultron definitely should have been a tank for sure because how big he is. Like making him a tank was a missed opportunity, but they also made him a tank, so they didn't want to do deep double tank season. So it kind of makes sense. But yeah, I feel like especially now we can have a double tank season. I know a lot of people probably they get mad at me saying like, oh, a double tank season. Yeah, we don't need that because people probably got PTSD from season three. people got people got PTSD from season three. They don't. We got Gene and we got Blade and people have PTSD and they don't they don't like season three whatsoever, which is understandable. Me personally, they like people say season three is my least favorite season. I hated season three. Season three was not good. Me personally, season five was like my least favorite season because I feel like the Battle Pass sucked. The things that they implemented instant was not that good. I feel like Battle Pass should have had some better skins. I feel like the things that they added should have been better. The only good thing I feel like that came out of season five for me personally was this mode right here. This mode right here, 18v18 is such a fun mode where you can just boyish around. You can have fun with your friends. You can pick the same character, just have a blast, right? This is like one of the only good things for me that came out of season five. Everything else was kind of bland, and just was or whack altogether. I like Gambit and Rogue as characters, but I didn't really care for them how they will make them into the game. That's my personal opinion. I mean, but you know, to each their own. To each their own. I just feel like season five was my least favorite season so far. But yeah, I do feel like Cyclops could definitely go either way, and I know people are like, I don't want him to be a healer, but I don't want Ultron to be a healer, but they made him work. People still use Ultron from time to time, and from a marketing standpoint, I feel like it would be smart to I would not be mad if we made Cyclops a healer. I could definitely use another healer main. Only got like two or three healer mains that I really have. Well, why not add another one to my belt? But it doesn't matter what role is because like I definitely been wanting Scott to be in this game for like a few months. Made a whole video about characters I wanted to be added into this game. He was definitely one of the first people I added in the part one of that series that I made. But yeah, it. I would, me personally, I would not be mad if we had a double tank, double Vanguard season. I wouldn't mind. I know a lot of people will be upset, probably be angry. I would not be mad. I also need another tank or a tank notch on my belt too, so I would not be mad if he's a tank. But it doesn't matter what role he is. I'm playing him regardless. Probably not first when he comes out because I'm not gonna be foolish. I'm not gonna be rushing into comps. I only usually play comps, so I'm gonna just wait it out. And I already know people are gonna insta-lock him because Scott is a fan favorite. People love Cyclops, and so yeah, I'm just gonna like wait it out a few weeks probably before I actually start playing him, start learning him. But yeah, let me know what y'all believe. What role we all believe he's going to be when he gets added. Just let me know what type of playstyle y'all wanted him to be. Let me know what which way y'all would go about him with his kits. But yeah, just been thinking in my mind. It's like I really want what tank or what role he should be. Because I don't care, but double tank season would be great. Have more people picking tank. Even though probably won't be that well because people don't play tank, so people probably won't be that good. But it's like people getting their foot in the door for playing tank, and they're like they saying, oh, this role is kind of cool. I'm start playing tank. I'm gonna start learning more tanks. That's not how this game usually goes. People, they play one character and they stick with it for the most part. But we'll see. We'll see. I just feel like they definitely have the opportunity to do one of the funniest things ever, and that has not being a double tank season. But they probably won't happen ever again. We probably won't have the same role, a double same role season ever again because they've seen the backlash and the feedback of season three. But yeah, let me know in the comments what y'all want him to be, how he would play, how his play style would be, what his kit would be in the comments or whatever. But yeah, I'm done chatting.